Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This week we're going to be kicking off a brand new 4 or 5 part series looking at George Romero's 1979 zombie horror masterpiece Dawn of the Dead. This film is my favourite film of all time. It's my favourite horror film of all time, directed by my favourite director and starring one of my all-time favourite actors. So it ticks a lot of boxes for me, and it's something that I've wanted to talk about for a long time on the channel, but I've just never got around to doing it or had a good excuse for it. But I thought no better time than now, with the second sight release just around the corner for most people. So I thought, you know, let's get this started. And obviously I've had a bit of a break from the channel. I've just the past few months been pretty busy. I just haven't had the spare time to do anything. And when I first started the channel, I was doing, you know, at one point a new video review every week, and they took a lot of time up. Time that I just don't have at the moment, but I want to get back into it. I want to get back into creating videos, and I thought no better way than starting off with, like I said, my favourite film of all time. And with that second sight release just coming out, everyone's Dawn of the Dead mad at the moment and really enjoying their set, so I thought no better time, let's get into it. But anyway, I'll quickly just go over what this series is going to be about. Like I said, it's going to be about 4 or 5 parts long, and it's mainly focused on 1979 Dawn of the Dead. I will be talking in one of the parts a little bit about the 2004 remake, but for this episode I'm going to be looking at the Anchor Bay 2004 Ultimate Edition DVD and also the 2012 Synapse 2-disc Blu-ray Definitive Edition of Document of the Dead. I want the first video, the structure of it is me looking at some milestone editions of the film, and also there'll be a bonus episode where I look at some merchandise and collectibles that I've gathered across the years, leading up to the eventual unboxing, review and comparison of the second sight 4K release. And at the end I want to do a video review for Dawn of the Dead. It's going to be a pretty long video. I'm aiming about 30 to 40 minutes, so like I said, I want to build up to it and build myself up to it, because it's going to take quite a while to get it done, but I'm really looking forward to it. And this is something, like I said at the start, I've wanted to do on the channel for a long time. I want to make a definitive series for myself for this film. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and here we are. But anyway, this is episode 1. And let's take a look at this Ultimate Edition of Dawn of the Dead. Like I said before, this is the 2004 release of Dawn of the Dead by Anchor Bay. This was a pretty big deal at the time. I remember my dad getting this box set, and you know, especially early 2000s, DVDs were, you know, still quite new, I guess. This was, like I said, a very big deal for a lot of people. Anchor Bay had already cemented their, you know, their name with hit after hit. A lot of Argento titles, a lot of Italian horror, and some beloved cult classics from American cinema, and this was one of them. And I think with the release of the 2004 remake, I think that probably got this set released. So that's something that, if you're a fan or not a fan of the remake, you obviously, you know, you got to give it credit, because I'm guessing if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have this. And to a lot of people, this is still the Ultimate Edition of Dawn of the Dead. Only now has it been knocked off by the second sight release, but this is still an essential piece for any collection. And considering this a DVD, and we're over 10 years deep into the Blu-ray era, this has had a huge lifespan, and like I said, a lot of people still cherish this edition, and I'm one of them, so I'm very happy to have it in the collection. But anyway, here's the packaging. It's a nice, almost like shiny black throughout the whole box set. Very simplistic. You will probably see some fingerprints, you know, it's got that reflective kind of material. I really like the writing here. It's reflective red, and it's embossed as well. Ultimate Edition, George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. with the iconic poster zombie, the plaid shirt zombie that's been used on countless covers and merchandise over the years. But like I said, it's simplistic, but it gets the job done. It makes it feel, you know, very classy, and like I said, I really do enjoy the packaging for this. But anyway, here's the bottom. As you can see, it has the 2004 Anchor Bay sailboat logo, Region 1. And I noticed earlier that you have the Synapse film logo at the bottom, which is interesting. I've got a few of their releases, and I know in terms of quality, they're one of the best in the game. But I would love to know what they did for this set. I'm guessing it was probably some of the extras or maybe work on the transfer. But, you know, I don't know when Second Sight came around. I don't, not Second Sight, Synapse. I don't know when they came around. I don't know what year they got into it, if they were producing their own DVDs on their own label at this time. But again, if anyone knows, let me know in the comments. But there's the front cover. Here's the spine, again that nice reflective look, Dawn of the Dead. And here's the back. You have a silhouette of the 4 main characters. Again, very simplistic, but I think, you know, it does a perfect job. Put that over there for the meantime. And obviously this is probably going to be spoiler alert, but again, it's not heavy on spoilers. I'll save that for the video review at a later date. But this is the headshot of Roger when he becomes a zombie. This is a headshot of the plaid shirt zombie. Again, very iconic. Open it up in like a digipack kind of style. You have Flyboy as a zombie and a female zombie. When I was younger, I used to always think this was, I used to always thought that it was Fran as a zombie, because there was obviously rumours and, you know, speculation about the alternate ending and if they filmed it, if they didn't, if they did any effects work for it. And I used to always thought that this was it, but I don't think it is. This is the zombie that attacks Roger in the truck. But again, very nice packaging throughout. You open it up. Different disc art for all 4 discs, which is nice. You have the documentaries disc, the European version, the extended version, and again you have that picture from the back, but in actual picture form here. You have the tagline, "When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth." You open it up. You have the US theatrical version. You have a nice picture of George Romero from the time, it looks, with his trademark signature. Some early editions of Dawn of the Dead released by Anchor Bay, I think, used to have a printed on signature by George saying "Stay scared, George Romero," and, you know, it's very iconic, and, you know, I always thought that was a nice touch, especially considering how early this was into, you know, DVD's life cycle. I thought that was a really cool touch. But anyway, I'll take out the inserts. First we have the insert that's normally stuck to the back. You have disc 1, disc 2, disc 3 and disc 4, and just the credits at the bottom, and it lets you know what you're getting inside the set. Next up you have a mini, almost a teaser version of issue 1 of the comic book series that came out the same year, I believe. I do have all 3 issues somewhere, so I'll try and find them out and show them on that bonus episode that I talked about. But anyway, it says issue 1 DVD in the corner there. Nice cover art. There's the back. And yeah, I remember at the time I was very into comics and graphic novels, so, you know, I really wanted this at the time, and I remember getting the 3 issues and, you know, reading them back to back and really enjoying it. Obviously it takes some liberties and changes some things, but the overall storyline is, you know, almost identical. The characters are there, so it's just an interesting read. And, you know, Dawn of the Dead is one of those things where it's had a comic book series, it has a novelization, it has an audio book, it has the film. It's amazing how much you can get out of one film. So like I said, I really do appreciate this, and it's a good read. I recommend tracking down all 3 issues if you can. One thing that I would love to see Dawn of the Dead, almost transfer to would be a video game. I think that has to be the next thing for this film. And again, my thoughts on where the film stands today and what could be done with the film and the title for the future, I'll talk about in another video. I give my thoughts on that, but like I said, I think a video game would be very interesting when you have games like Left 4 Dead and COD Zombies, which this film pretty much laid the foundation for those games to follow. Full survivors, locked up and trapped in an isolated location, working together to kill hordes and hordes of zombies. It's perfect. But anyway, there's the back with a nice promotional image for Anchor Bay. And then last up we have like a little fold out leaflet insert that just tells you again what you get within this box set, the different extras, the different cuts of the films. What I quite like with this as well is you have a little blueprint of the mall, upper level and lower level, which I think is pretty neat. But anyway, we have brief write-ups on the 3 different versions. The US theatrical, which is 127 minutes long, the extended version, which is 139, and the European version, which is 118, helmed by Dario Argento, obviously, and again, I will get into that at a later date. Disc 1, the US theatrical, you get a audio commentary with George Romero, Tom Savini, Chris Romero, and moderated by DVD producer Perry Martin. I've listened to this commentary before and it's a great listen. I highly recommend it. They've worked with each other for decades. They've been great friends for decades. Sorry about that. But anyway, like I said, this commentary is a great listen. They gel and bounce off each other really well. They have some really interesting stories from behind the scenes and how this film has affected their careers after, what they were up to before. And like I said, it's a great listen, so I highly recommend that. Some of the other extras is TV spots and radio spots, which is pretty common for editions like this. A comic book preview, a George Romero bio, which is interesting. And like I said, if you want to read any of this, please pause the video. But going on to the extended version, we have an audio commentary with producer Richard P. Rubinstein. I don't think I've ever heard this commentary, so I can't give my personal thoughts on it, but I'm sure it's a great listen. I'm sure it's very fascinating and interesting to see what the producer of the film has to say. You have the Monroeville Mall commercial, which is, a great bit of history there for the mall. Photo gallery, behind the scenes, again, very standard stuff, but it's very essential at the same time. I highly recommend checking everything out on this set. The European version, which probably has my favourite extra, or one of my favourite extras on this set, and that's the audio commentary with the 4 main actors, David Emge, Ken Free, Scott H. Reiniger, and Galen Ross. It's like time has stood still when you listen to this. It's like it's been plucked straight from, 78, 79. The stories they tell, the friendship, the banter they have, it's very entertaining. And again, how this film has affected their careers. They tell some really interesting stories about, work after Dawn of the Dead, work before Dawn of the Dead, their personal lives. This is an essential listen. And I'm not too sure what other editions this commentary's on, so this is a highlight of the set for me. You have international trailers, UK TV spots, again, very interesting. Home video and soundtrack artwork, which again is one of my favorites because this film is obviously the covers, from around the world. There's different interpretations of the cover art. Some are very interesting and fascinating, and I'm a sucker for when it comes to cover arts for film, so this was highly entertaining. And then disc 4 is the documentaries. We have The Dead Will Walk, an all-new documentary featuring interviews with cast and crew members. Some names that I'll go through quick: Dario Argento, David Early, Ken Free, Michael Gornick, Clayton Hill, George Romero, Tom Savini, Claudio Simonetti. A bunch of key players, but also some minor roles, some behind-the-scenes guys, some people on the camera. I've watched this recently in preparation for the series, and I've seen it before a handful of times, and this honestly is one of my favourite documentaries. It goes on for about an hour and 15. and it's been ported over to the later Arrow edition Blu-ray set and the brand new second sight edition, and I'm so glad it has, because to me this is essential. It just, the stories, how the film was made, the troubles they had behind the scenes, the legacy of the film, Romero's career leading up to the film, and you know how it all came about. One of my favorite stories is Argento. You know, if it wasn't for Argento, we perhaps wouldn't have Dawn of the Dead, or not what it looks like today. But one of my favorite stories is Argento meeting with Romero, wanting Romero to do a sequel to Night of the Living Dead, flying him out to Rome, taking him, you know, to dinner and having drinks and building a friendship and a relationship with him over his period of time whilst he stayed at Rome, and he managed to get the script done as well. And I think, like I said, it's just great stories. It's nice to watch, and it's nice to hear these people talk about their experience with the film and their love for it. So this is highly enjoyable. I highly recommend watching this. Next, we had the Roy Frump's Document of Dead, the original documentary filmed during the making of Dawn of the Dead by filmmaker Roy Frumps. This is the 66-minute original version, and I think I've watched the original version once before. I'm not too sure. I've definitely watched the updated edition. But again, it's amazing that we have 66 minutes of behind the scenes footage from this film, considering the time and the budget. And this is obviously very low budget, this documentary. But again, it's really interesting. It's you know, it's cool seeing Gonk and Romero set up shots, Savini working on extras, and the main cast when it comes to special effects. Their views at the time, literally at the time on the day of shooting, what they're doing and stuff like that. So I highly, again, this is an essential watch for any fan. We have on-set home movies and a Monroeville Mall tour with actor Ken Free. Ken Free is one of my favourite actors. I followed his career from Dawn of the Dead, From Beyond, Devil's Rejects, to some of his lower budget stuff. When I was growing up, Keenan and Kel was on TV, so you know I was a big fan of that. I used to watch that, you know, every morning it used to be on, or whenever it was on, and obviously loved it. And he played the dad in that, so it's amazing how, you know, he's had such a varied career. I remember watching just, you know, a random episode of the A-Team and he popped up on it. So he's a great character actor, and his performance in this film is second to none. It's one of my earliest memories of actors and acting, and like I said, he is one of my favourite actors. Any interview I've seen him with, any fan experience I've heard about him has always been positive. He seems like the nicest guy in the world, so down to earth, very friendly. So this is a great time. He interacts with some of the fans. He has a good time with it. You know, you can tell he's having a blast. He points out some key locations within the mall from specific scenes throughout the movie. So again, I highly recommend that. But that's the inserts for the movie. And again, I won't go into too much detail about my personal thoughts and opinion on each cut and the film itself, because I want to save that. I want to spread that over and save it, like I said, for the video review and some later videos. But this set, when it comes to this set, this is an essential purchase. You can still pick it up for a good price, which is quite amazing considering it's 16 years old. And like I said, it is, to a lot of people, the ultimate edition. I can't recommend it enough. If you can find it, you know, for any price, it's a must-have. The packaging is beautiful. It holds up really well. The red and black, you know, I really do like the packaging on this and the colours they use and the extras. Like I said, those two documentaries alone are worth it. The free audio commentaries, the countless trailers and radio spots and TV spots and photo galleries. This is a must-have. But anyway, going on to the next item in this video, we're looking at the Synapse 2012 release of Document of Dead, the definitive version. Comes with two versions on this. It has the 66-minute version from 1979, and it also has the 102-minute version, I think it is. I've not checked this out for a little while. I got this a few years back on eBay for a good price. Amazingly, it's region free for both the Blu-ray and DVD. And like I said, I got this for a really good price on eBay. This was a synapsefilms.com exclusive, so I'm not entirely too sure if it's still in print. I imagine it isn't, but again, if you can pick this up, I highly recommend it. I've wanted to boost the Dawn of the Dead collection, and this does a great job of doing that. It's on Blu-ray, and also I quite like collecting documentaries on films on Blu-ray. I've got a small collection and I want to add some more things to it, but this is definitely a centerpiece to that. And one of the main selling points was the cover art. I think it's, I'm, like I said before, I'm a sucker for cover art, and I think this is one of the best. I really love the colors used here. The likeness for Romero is spot on. The film cells used as guts being pulled out by his own creations. The zombies is, it really is a nice piece, and I'm very glad that with this edition you do get a mini fold out poster of that that I'll show off in a minute. But anyway, there's the spine. Synapse Films, like I said. You get a all new audio commentary with writer, producer, director Roy Frumps, who would later go on to do Street Trash, which is a personal favourite of mine. And he also filmed the alternate opening for Zombie Holocaust for when it was distributed in the States as Dr. Butcher, MD, Medical Deviant. So he's been in the game for a long time. But anyway, open this up. And before, quickly, the artwork is by someone called Wes Bensko, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I butchered it, but he's done some great artwork over the years for Blu-rays and other media. One of my favourites is the Absurd vinyl from Mondo or Waxwork, I think. That's very striking. He did Rawhead Rex and I think Slugs for Arrow Video, which are two of my favourite. And just recently he's done the Synapse edition, the Steelbook edition of Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, where if you've seen that artwork, you know how great that is. He's a great artist. You can follow him on Instagram. He does a lot of rock and metal albums, but like I said, the artwork speaks for itself. There's the post. I'll show that off at the end. But 2 discs, Blu-ray disc and DVD, 102-minute version and a 66-minute version. I spoke briefly about the 66-minute version. It's something that I need to revisit, but I remember enjoying it at the time, even if it did feel, a little bit the structure and a little bit too low budget. It's nice that it is on Blu-ray and cleaned up. But the 102-minute version is the one that I want to speak about, and the one that I'm perhaps more familiar with. The extra footage is from Romero's later career and his later zombie films like Day, Land, Diary, and perhaps even Survival. And again, it's interesting and it's nice we have a definitive document of the dead, and it's nice that Roy Frumps, went back to this project over the years and added to it. It's definitely fascinating, but again, I think the issue is at times it could, like I said, the structure just isn't there, and it can feel a little bit all over the place. And the jump from obviously the footage from 78, 79 to present day high definition footage can be a little bit jarring. But again, I recommend watching both of them if you have the chance. But I think perhaps stick with the 66-minute version. But anyway, I'm glad to own it. It takes a spot in my collection. But this is the poster. I'll quickly fold this out, and as you can see, it's the same artwork from the front, just without the titles. But yeah, this is a really nice piece. I always think that if I was lucky enough and had the chance to meet Romero before his passing, I think I would have had this signed from him and framed somewhere, perhaps with a little Romero collection, because I think this is a really fitting tribute to the man. Like I said, the likeness is spot on. He's surrounded by his creations, and yeah, it's just it's one of my favourite newly commissioned artworks from any physical media release, let alone Blu-ray. But I'm definitely pleased to own this edition. So again, if you can find it, I recommend grabbing it. But there is both editions, the Anchor Bay Ultimate Edition and the Definitive Document of Dead edition. Like I said, this will be an ongoing series. Part 2, I'll be taking a look at the Arrow Video Blu-ray set from 2009, and also I'll be talking about the 2004 remake. Even though obviously I'm focusing on the Romero original, I feel like I have to talk about the remake, and I want to talk about the remake. I've watched it very recently, so it's very fresh in my mind. I have a lot of opinion on that film. It's a highly popular remake, and it did kickstart the zombie boom in the early 2000s, along with stuff like 28 Days Later, Shaun of the Dead, the Resident Evil games. So it has its place, and it is a part of the original's legacy. So like I said, that's what I'll be taking a look at in part 2. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and see you again next time.